Hi everyone, I'm Jody Barrows. I am so glad that you have joined us for class today. We're going to talk about option 1, the square and a square, and option 3, flying geese, and how we use them in this beautiful quilt that we call Midnight Orchid. And we're going to get into details on that and the teaching here in just a few minutes. Now, for those of you that are new to us, I'm Jody Barrows. I'm the creator, inventor, whatever you want to call it, of the square and a square system, which has been around for about 40 years. And I came up with the square and a square system because I wanted more speed and more accuracy, more precision. I wanted my work to be smooth and flat with no ripples or bumps, and I wanted my points to be nice and sharp and crisp. I struggled with putting quilts together. I was very accomplished seamstress, but when it came time to putting all of these little pieces together, I mean, look at this one here. I just struggled. The speed and the accuracy were not, I just couldn't get it. I tried everything that they told me to do, and I thought, well, I guess I just can't do it. But I loved quilting, and I was very tenacious. I was not going to give up. So I just kept thinking, why is it so hard to put all these pieces together? And I thought, well, first of all, a human's doing it, and a human's not perfect. And I'm a little bit of a smoke and needle speed demon. I want to get stuff done. And I thought if I just slowed down, took my time, I would get better, but it didn't really help. So I thought, well, how can I remove this human element? What is the human doing? What is the human element? It's the cutting of the pieces, the sewing of the pieces, and the pressing of the pieces. And when you put that in there, that's where things get off a little bit. And so I thought, well, how can I remove the human element but still get all these beautiful quilts? So that was how I was thinking, and that's what pushed me and promoted me to do what I'm going to show you, which is the square in a square technique. Now, for those of you that don't know, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, and we have a teaching website. A teaching website is squareinasquare.net. Now, this is considered alive with Facebook, and in 30 days it's going to go away. And so that's one reason why we have a teaching website, is so that you can go there and you can see what is gone on the other platforms. Also, it's so easy to search and find what you're looking for. We have a search bar, so you can just type in scraps or stars or whatever it is, hen house, whatever it is that you're looking for, and it will help you find the video. There are hundreds of hours in our teaching website. So one part are the classes like this that sometimes are called webinars. They're in there, and those are open to the public anytime that you want to go watch. And then we have Quilt Club Week, and we are fast approaching Quilt Club Week. We are so excited. We're getting it together, and I'm going to tell you more about it too today. And then we have our Premium Club, and our Premium Club works on semesters. We have a fall semester, a spring semester, all of that. We also have a text line. It's a quilt text line, so anytime you have questions, need help, or you just want to chat with me, you can text me. It's 817-713-2879, and it always helps for you to send me a picture. Now, there was a lady that I was helping, and she first just sent an email. And of course, people have different vocabulary of how they word things. So we're going to talk about some of that today to help you master more of what we're doing. I had one girl that said, I want to learn how to read a pattern. So we're going to talk about how to read a pattern today. It's really very simple, but we're going to tell you that. When I was a new knitter, like 10 years ago, when I started, I was like, I want to know how to read these patterns. I don't know what that means. And part of it is knowing the vocabulary. So we're going to go over some vocabulary. We're going to go over reading some patterns, and we're going to go over this beautiful quilt behind me here of Midnight Orchid. So we're going to come to that. Now, before we get started on any of this, I want you to, we have the teaching website that is squareinasquare.net, and then we have the second website, which is squareinasquare.com. And you can email us through either one of those, or just go right to our emails. But the .com is where the products are, and some of the products have videos with them. So one of the text messages or emails I've got this summer was, tell me about the grande. What does the grande do? And so I told her a little bit, and then I said, well, if you go to the website and go to the .com and look up the Grande, there's going to be a video there. I don't remember if it's 20 minutes or 40 minutes, but it's going to show you the Grande and how to use every bit of it so that you can get all of that goodness from that one tool that is the multi-purpose tool. And we're going to use the Grande today, we're going to use the original today, and we're going to use the mini, because all three of those you can do what we're doing today. And I'll tell you more about those rulers as we get to them, okay? But I want you to go and I want you to sign up with your email, because once you get on the email list, then you're not going to miss anything. We're going to send you an email about a class, a promotion, the new fabrics when they come in. I got strike-offs today on the new fabric, so that means we are ready to write the purchase order and order the fabric. Once the strike-offs come and we okay everything, then we are ready to start production on that fabric. So we're hoping that our new fabric will be here in November. But in August, which is coming up here in just a few days, probably I'm going to say around the 10th or so, but as soon as we can get it together in August, we're going to do a fabric promotion. I'm going to show you the new fabric that's coming, and I'm going to show you the fabric that we have from previous lines that mix and matches and goes with and coordinates so that you can order those. And those fabrics are ones that you might say we're on the last end of having those fabrics in stock. So you want to be sure and be on that email list so you'll know about that fabric promotion so that you can get a better price on it and see the new stuff so you'll know what's going on. Now, with your email, probably since about mid-June to end of June, we've had our schedule made clear to the end of the year. And we have been sending this link in with your email so that you'll know what we're doing, what time we're doing it. Of course, things could possibly change something, but this is our tentative schedule and what we're working with to the best of our ability. Now, the X's on your sheet means that those are ones that we've already had. I think this class today is what I'm calling summer class number 6. But now that we are at the tail end of July and we're starting with August, we are on a dead run to Quilt Club Week and the beginning of our semester for Premium Club. So lots going on. I have to keep myself organized and I want to help keep you guys organized. So be sure and get on the email list so that you can get the schedule. Anytime we have a teaching, a webinar, a class, whatever you want to call it, a workshop, you need to have pencil and paper because there's going to be notes that you want to take. And you also want to be able to document this video so that you can go back and watch it again if there's something in here that kind of, piques your interest and you think, I want to know how to do that. In about 3 months from now, I'm going to be doing that and I want to be able to find it in the video. So make sure you take good notes. So welcome to all of our new people. Welcome to our Quilt Club Week people. Welcome to our Premium Club, our newbies, all of you. I think the main thing that I would like for you to know is that we are here to help you along your patchwork path. So text us, email us. We're here to help. No matter how simple, how complex, or how silly the question is, okay? Sending a question on Facebook just doesn't work well. Things get lost. There's tons of information and people on there, and it moves really quickly, so it's easy to lose. So that's why I like to say, don't Facebook me a question. Send it on the text line. Send it in an email. And then also go to the teaching website .net, squareandsquare.net, so that you can go back in and watch all of this and find it. One of the text messages, the lady was looking for something that I did back in 18 and 19, and it would be hard to find it all the way back in Facebook. But if you go to the teaching website, there it is, ready to go, okay? So, I'm just going to go over the events just a little bit. So today, of course, we have our Midnight Orchid. Next Monday on the 4th at 2 o'clock. All of ours along through August will most likely be at 2 o'clock. We have Pathway to the Stars and Trinity River. Now, class today of the Orchid and class next week for those two, these are quilts that we taught in Quilt Club Week last year. So we are at the end of these kits, and we've been selling tons of kits and tons of fabric this summer. So things are moving quite quickly, quite fastly, more so than normal. So if you've been with us for a while, we've got new people, and so things are moving quickly. So we're at the end of this kit and fabric that we're teaching today. Next week is Pathway to the Stars, and Trinity River, which is out of our diamond books. So people are always excited to go in and learn some of the diamonds. So these are just little mini classes that we have in our summer classes, and they're more in-depth on Quilt Club Week. So if you're a Quilt Club Week member, you can go back in and search for these classes there also. Then on Monday the 11th, we're going to do Americana and East meets West. The Americana is one that's really fast and simple. Probably more quilts have been made off of that pattern in the last almost 40 years than any other pattern that I have. It's very fast and easy and fun to do. It's great for wounded warriors, quilts of valor, vets, and military. And then the East meets West. This one is really cool because of the fabric that we use and because of the setting block that's in it. The setting block of the main block is the thing that just makes the quilt wonderful. And all of these kits and patterns and everything are already on the website. So just go to the website, squareandasquare.com, put in the search bar kits, and then go in there and look and see what we have. Then on Monday the 18th or Monday the 25th, we're going to have a Get Started for our fall semester. It will be open to the public so that anybody can see what we're doing, and they can say, oh, hey, I want to come and join Premium Club, and I want to do this semester quilt. So depending on my time schedule and how I can progress on with things, that will be either Monday the 18th or Monday the 25th. So for those of you that are interested in Premium Club or your Premium Club, mark that, and of course get on the email list so you'll know, and you can see what we're going to do for our fall semester, and maybe you want to come join us. Also, it's possible that even on the 18th, if I'm not ready to show you what we're working on, I would have a webinar and show you, something else that we're doing. I might not be ready to show you the semester one, but most likely we'll have something on that day. And then on Tuesday, 18th and 19th, we're going to do Double Star and Pumpkin Star. Those are great fall-inspired quilts, and those kits are on the website ready to go. And then one of those Mondays on the 18th and the 25th, we'll have our fabric promotion, and we'll be showing you the fabrics, and we'll start the sale for some of that. Then our Quilt Club week, we will be working hard and fast all the way through the end of September to do, this is just one page, there's 2 pages of our schedule. But so our fall semester quilt starts in September, right after Labor Day. Quilt Club week is the last week of September, so we're going to have tons of stuff to get you guys prepped and prepared and knowledgeable about what we're doing so that you can come and join us, and just showing you all kinds of tips and hints that we're going to do. Now, if you've been on our email list, I don't have the quilt to show you today. I will definitely show it in one of the ones coming, but the main quilt that we're teaching at Quilt Club Week, it's a double storm at sea, and it's called Watershed. And if you've been on our email list, you can go to squareandasquare.com, put in Watershed, you can see it. You can order the patterns. There's 3 parts to the pattern, and you can order the kit, and the kit comes in 2 different color waves. Now, but these kits have been flying out of here very, very fast, and we were very limited on fabric, and I want everybody to be able to get them that is wanting them. So that's one reason why we're giving you this head start on the kits and the fabric, is because it's beautiful and it's going to be easy and simple to do, and you can order backing with your Watershed kit. And I'll just kind of show you. There's this one. Let's put the camera down. So your pattern, and like I said, there's 3 parts to your pattern, and then these are the fabrics that are in the watershed kit. This is what we call the Shadow Vintage, and you can order backing that's in this black floral or in the red. Now all of these fabrics are very, very limited, so if you're wanting the kit, or even if you're wanting just any of the fabrics, you need to get in there and get those ordered right away. And here you can see, let me see, just a little bit. Let me see where it's not glare. There you can see just a little bit of it. And we'll show you more of it in the ones that are coming, but I don't want you to miss out. I don't want your heart to be broken if you miss out. Now the other fabric wave, and I've just shown bits and pieces of this one on the Premium Club because this is the sample that we're making, that we're using during Quilt Club Week, but we have these fabrics right here that we're using. And so this is a great quilt to have that helps you celebrate the 250-year anniversary or birthday of America that's coming up in 2026 on the 4th of July. We've got it in this color wave, and it's really, really pretty. I'm excited to have the patriotic one. And then this is the kit for the one that we're going to work on today. It's called Midnight Orchid, and you can choose the black for your back, or you can choose the gray print on it when you order your kit. And like I said, we're very limited on all of these. So if you're interested in them, please don't delay. I hate it when people, I guess I shouldn't say hate it. It bothers me when someone wants something and I can't make their dream come true with that fabric. So, and just this one right here, I think there's 3 one-yard pieces of our little green one. Okay, now let's look down here and let's look at our books and talk about them real quick. So this one here is our main reference book. To me, it is a must-have book. It's a workbook. I don't think there's any other book in the quilt world that has done what this book has done. We have had this book since we've updated it a couple of times, but the beginning book of this one was in the late 90s. And it has the first 17 options. It has the charts. We're going to talk about the charts and changing sizes. The quilt we're working on today is in here, over 30 quilts, over 50 different sizes. And this is the one that has the options. So, you know, this is your basic square and everything starts out like this. So the options 1 through 17 are in this book. And I need to get a little banner that goes across the corner that says like 250,000 of these sold, because this book has been the #1 selling book in the quilt world, I dare say. And then we have the diamonds book. So 1 through 17, they start out with a square. Those are the square options. The diamond options start out with a diamond in the middle. Kind of like you see here, this diamond in the middle instead of a square. And it has the options 18 to 39, and those are all of the diamond options. We're going to use some of these diamonds in our fall semester this coming up on this class. It's got all the charts. It's got over 200 sizes of blocks in here, all the way from a 2-inch all the way up. And then it's got your patterns. Now we taught, I think the last class we taught on the 3rd or 2nd or something like that was our Crown of Thorns. June 30th was our last class, and we taught Crown of Thorns. Now it's going away on Facebook because it's been 30 days. So you got to go to squareandasquare.net to see those, because those are lives and Facebook doesn't keep them longer than 30 days on there. Okay, and then this is our brand new book. This is the bat wings, the butterflies, and the dragonflies. This is our brand new book. We did a video on it earlier this summer. So go back into squareandasquare.net and put in just bat wings, and have that video will pop up. So those, the 2 main books, and then our newest production right there. Okay, so here are the rulers. This one is what we call the mini, and it has the 90s, the 60s, the 120s on it, and this great little corner square. And this one is the original. If you don't have any other rulers, you're just getting started, we really We usually recommend that you start with the original. It's got the 90, the 60s, and the 120s on it. It's a little bit bigger. It's got your 1/2-inch grids to help keep you square. And then we have the Grande. And the Grande, like I said, there's a whole video on it where you can go in and watch it and see all the different things. I'm trying to get that glare off of it. There we go. All the different things that it does. I love this 9-inch corner square here on it. You can cut your strips. You've got your 90 here, so you can cut any of your options 1 through 17. And then it has this one red line right here that helps you cut your diamonds. So many people struggle with cutting a diamond for the center, and we made this ruler specifically to do the diamonds. And then I was like, well, what else can it do? Because I don't want a tool that only does like one thing. Okay, questions. Get your questions in anytime today. Let's see what we have.
You mentioned the 3 books. So
option numbers for the 3rd book, Bat Wings. Okay, those are they like 46? 40, so 1 through 17 is the square, 18 to 39 is the diamond, and then we start in with 40, and each 40, 41, and so on are little books like this, and they'll have quilts and samples and blocks and charts. If it has a chart so that you can do multiple sizes for it, then it's always its own option. So this one, I think they are like 46, 47, 48.
I think so.
And then 49 is actually, these are all rectangle shapes. And 49 we showed in the semester class last spring for Premium Club members. But we have several new options that will deal with a square. And so that particular one of the, what did we call that? Lily pads. Lily pad will be in the next book coming with its charts and everything.
So 40 is the quarter square triangles.
40 is when you have 4 triangles in a square. 41 is, I think, the snowball. 42 we skipped. We're coming back to 42. 43 is hen house. 44 is fireflies. And then, so I guess this would be 45, 46, and 47.
On the website that I will link here that has all the options and all the books.
Okay, so he said that he's going to put a link on here. It's already on the website, and it has all the options and where you can find those, what books those are. But please, anytime you have questions, need help, email or send us a text, okay? That text line, once again, 817-713-2879. And ask your questions here, too. Today, we'll do the best we can to help you. That's sometimes, people are like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you, da-da-da. But we love it. We want to help you. So that's what we do, is we help people. So don't be afraid. Don't worry that you're bothering us. Now, we had we were still here shipping and all of that, but we have our youngest son and his family live out of the country, and they were here in July. So we didn't have any webinars during those 3.5 weeks that they were here. We put them on we left yesterday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, got them to the airport. They got on their flight at noon, and right before the webinar started today, they texted us and said that they had made it home safe and that the little boys were already asleep in their own bed. So long, almost 9,000 miles away is where they live, and we're so appreciative that they came and enjoyed it so much. But now it's time to get back to work. Okay, so let's go. Any questions before we get started? Go ahead and get those in. And we're going to go over options. We're going to talk about the basic square and some of the vocabulary. We're going to talk about option 1, and we're going to talk about option 3. We're going to talk a little bit about option 4, but we don't use 4 in the quilt today. But those are the main options, and once you learn those, then you're able to jump in and tackle any quilt. And then we're going to look at a pattern, and we're going to talk about how to decipher it. And part of that is making sure that you have the right vocabulary, so that you know what I'm talking about in the book. But also, if you text or email me, then I know what you're wanting. We can get to solve the problem a lot faster. Okay, do we have a question before we get going?
Come up on my screen. It's on here.
Okay.
Oh, here it is.
Lynn says, what was the fabric grouping with the black and white and the eagle prints. The fabric, it was just, I think we just called the eagle, there was the eagle, do you want to grab the eagle flag and the eagle vine? And then there was the tone-on-tones that were just flags, and they were kind of like your solids. And then there was the eagle vine, it was the eagle head with the vine. And then we had the eagle flag. And we've been, if you're on Facebook or any of the social media platforms, we have been doing lots of different little short reels, little 30-second reels. And so you've seen, good grief, we've got fabric falling from the sky here. Okay, so this one here is the eagle vine. So it's the eagle head with a little vine. It comes in red and blue and then this beige looking one. And this is the one that we used in the quilt We the People. You can go back and look at that one. I don't have the quilt anymore because it has now landed far, far away. And my little grandson was so happy to have a America quilt to go on his bed. So that one is We the People. Go look at it. I think I have one Queen King kit left of it. And then I think the other one was a twin full. I maybe can do one of those smaller ones, but this is all getting gone really fast. Like I said, all of our kits that we've had are just really moving along. Now this one is the one that was the eagle flag. And this is one that you maybe saw in a reel. Let's put the camera down here, Steve. So there it is in the beige. It comes in a blue. And then here you can see it in the red. So it's 1776, 2026, and then 250. Now, for those of you that are wanting a really nice quilt to celebrate the 250 years, I think we need we have a lot of quilts that we've used this fabric in. You can see those on the website. We have some that we'll be showing as we move up to Quilt Club Week, and then of course we have some in Quilt Club Week, but they're already all on the website right now, ready to go. You don't have to wait. But I want one really special quilt that celebrates the 250 years of America. I'm a history nut. I'm a very patriotic red, white, and blue lover, and I want one really special quilt. So our quilt this fall is it's called God Bless America, and it is going to be that wonderful quilt that will help celebrate, and I hope go down in history in the quilt world of beautiful quilts made during this time. Now, for those of you, we have a lot of watchers and students that are not America. They live somewhere else on the earth. It is a beautiful quilt that you'll be able to put any fabrics in and have a beautiful quilt. The thing that's going to make it, I'm going to say a 250-year anniversary is the fabric I'm using. So obviously, if you switch out the fabric and do something else, if you live in England or Africa or wherever, then you know, it's a beautiful quilt just made out of whatever fabrics you have. And there will only be one color wave. I only have one color wave for it. I try to do as many color waves as I can, but of course that's always a time issue. Okay, so hopefully that helped your question on those fabrics. If not, ask us. And
did you show any blacks like that black border?
This one is the black leaf. It's the shadow. And here's the black floral. It's part of the vintage shadows. And then these golds were all part of the vintage shadows. With this kit, this quilt is in bat wings.
That's black and white, that border.
This?
The border.
This? It's kind of gray. It's kind of gray and black and white. Anyway, we do have kits for this one. This one's called Winter Solstice. And like I said, all of our kits are getting down to the end. So if you're interested in any of those that you see on the website, please get them ordered so that you won't miss out on them. I guess that's it on that. Okay, so let's go through and let's talk about the basic square, and then we'll talk about the three main options and some vocabulary words. We'll go through the block that's in here. It's really very simple and easy to do. And then we'll do a pattern, okay? All right, so everything starts out just like this with a square in the middle and strips on the side. So options 1 through 17 that you can find in this reference book, and the charts and everything, plus all the patterns are there. And we call this the center square. This is the center square, and we call these surround strips because you're taking a strip and you're surrounding the square. Now, everything we do starts out just like this. So if you can make this, you can make just about any quilt that is out there. It's just amazing how simplified it makes everything. Now, the different ways you lay the ruler on there to trim it up, you're going to get different triangle units. But let's just stick with this little square right here. So you can see here how you have your seams are all pressed out and away, because everything is all about this center square. The center square is what determines your size when you get finished with it. Another thing that determines your size is your seam allowance. And then, of course, the other thing is the way that you trim it up. But the main thing is the size of your center square. And I always call this the center square. Now, when you're looking at a block, you can, and of course, I'm going to get flying geese out of here and you can see these flying geese. But when looking at this block, this is the center and it's a square. But I don't call this the center square because this is always the center square. I call this the center of the star or the center of the block. I don't ever call it the center square because when you're looking at your patterns and you're reading them, you need to know that since everything revolves around this basic square, then this center square here is actually the star of the show, and everything is all about this center square right here. These are surround strips, and see how this is the first row that you go around? So this could be called row 1, surround strip row 1. Sometimes we take our units after we get them trimmed up and we sew around them again, and then that's called surround strips row 2. So when you're looking at your pattern and it says surround strips, you know that these are the strips that you're going to sew around. And is it going to be row 1? Is it going to be row 2? And so on. Now, when people email or text and they say, my stuff is not the right size, I'm off, what do I do? In the squareandasquare.net, we have 3 great teaching videos. One is called Overcutting, which was June of 21. So look for a video that says Overcutting. And when we get to these little corners of your block, see how it's overcut? It's bigger than what you need. It explains everything about an overcut. So when you're reading your patterns, if it says overcut in there, that means that that's bigger than what it needs to be, okay? Then we also have a video that's called Troubleshooting, and that was in, I think that was August the 22nd of 21. And so if you just put troubleshooting in that search bar at squareandasquare.net, you can find it, overcutting or troubleshooting. And then we did one called the core of the system, and that was in October. So if you'll put those in, you'll be able to watch those videos. They're very in-depth. They're 3 separate videos, so you know things don't get mixed in between. So it's, to me,
members have a troubleshooting on their menu.
Yes, and if you're in Premium Club, down on the menu side, you've got a beginner section, you've got a technique section. It's very detailed in there. So get in there and start digging around, and troubleshooting is one of them, okay? So we've learned the basic square. Everything starts out just like this with your basic square. We've learned this is the center square, and that these are surround strips, and that you can have a row 1, a row 2, a row 3. And it's important to know that because when you go to the charts to read those charts, it's going to say center square. It's going to say surround strips. It's going to say row 2. That way you know what those are. Now, when you get ready to trim, there's only 2 ways to trim. So let's look down here at our trimming. So like these here, this is our option 1, the square and a square. And see how we have that 1/4 of an inch off all 4 of those corners. And it stays just like this. It's a square, and it's going to go in your block just like that. And you need that 1/4 of an inch. And on the other trimming, it's called the two-step, because you'll see here on the ruler when we start cutting here in a minute, we're going to step over 2 lines. So we call it the two-step because you're stepping over 2 lines, and it's making a real sharp trim. See, you've got 1/4 of an inch, but here and here you don't. You have 1/4 of an inch here and here, two-step here and here, cut it in half, and you've got your flying geese, option 3. So see how these come out? See how these flying geese come out of that basic square? See how your square and a square comes out of that basic square? Okay. So
you have seam allowance, it's just moved.
yeah, your seam allowance is in there. We're moving the point, and we're creating a seam allowance in here because, see, you didn't have one. And so you have to do this. And when we get to the trimming, well, I'll just show you. When you come back in and sew 1/4 and 1/4, see, your point's going to be right there, exactly where it should be. No matter how you make your flying geese, that seam has to go straight out through that corner. But oh my gosh, if you're following us on Facebook, you know people go crazy over, you've cut your tip off, you know. I'm like, you're thinking checkers, you need to think chess, because we're moving on. We've got another move that we're going to do, which is cut it in half. Now, when you want half square triangles, we're going to two-step all 4 corners, because see how we cut through here to get the 2 flying geese? Well, now we're going to cut both directions, so we have to two-step all 4 of these corners. And once again, when you come back and sew 1/4 and 1/4, your point will be right there, exactly where it needs to be. But no dog ears, no grids to draw, no papers to peel, no starching, just everything starts out like this with the basic square, and then the different ways you trim it. So option 1, all 1/4 of an inch. Option 3, you're going to do the two-step and the 1/4. And then option 4, half square triangles, you're going to two-step all 4. So once you know these, all of the other options just come off of this. Okay, now here's the mini ruler, and here's my 90. So if I'm going to leave that 1/4 of an inch, see this 90, I'm pushing it right in that corner, and the black lines are going over the seam. See that grid line goes through the point? Make your cut. And just keep going and doing all 4 corners. Now, I do kind of like to do opposites to get in the habit of just doing opposites, because when I'm doing opposite, it's very easy to come over here and look at this side to make sure that this cut and this cut are going to stay parallel. You don't want like one going like this and one going like that. You want them nice and even and parallel. So see how the lines on the ruler, we call those grid lines, help you stay parallel. Which if you're just doing an option 1, you know, you want these outside edges to be nice and square. But when you start cutting it up into multiple units, it's really important that you keep everything neat as you go. So I suggest that you go opposites. And then when you come in and do the other, then I'm looking at where they're at. Now, it just so happens with the mini ruler and with the size that I'm working here for my squares, they line up nice and neat with the lines. But depending on the size of this determines how this radiates out. So it could come somewhere where there's not a line. And so you just look at the line in the fabric and see if they're parallel, or does one look crooked, because you want to keep this outside square. So now I'm looking at all 3, making sure I'm staying as square as possible. Now, on the watershed pattern, the new one that's coming out, we do have with each step on the pattern what sizes these should be when you get them done. But we don't do that on the majority of our patterns. But if you ever want to know the size that this is, you can look in your pattern. So maybe it's let's say that it's going to get sewn up next to a rectangle. So if you look in your pattern and see what the rectangle is, and it says 4.5 or whatever it is, then you know that this should be a 4.5 inch square. But let's say that this is a 3 inch center square here, and it's an option 1. Let's go to your chart. On page 34 is where they start. And so it says option 1, option 5. So the first thing in reading a chart or reading a pattern is to know option 1, have at least an idea of what it is. And if you go in and make sure you make your overview books like we've been showing on the reels, then you're going to have this as some muscle memory in your brain, and it's going to be much easier to recognize the pieces and know more about what you're talking about. But remember, at the beginning, all of this can be new, especially if you're a new quilter. But the more time you spend with it, if you will spend 15 minutes a day with it, within a week, 2 weeks, you're going to know a lot. So just immerse yourself in what you love 15 minutes a day, and you will see a change in a week to 2 weeks very quickly. So let's say this is a 3-inch. So when I look at my chart, this middle column right here, I know you can't see the words on the screen, but this middle column right here says cut center square. Remember, center square. So if it was a 3-inch cut center square, then this column over here says the sewn size is 3.5. Now the sewn size is smaller, so if it's 3.5, the cut size will be 4. It would be 4 inches going around, and it would sew down to 3.5. So make sure you read what's at the top of the column and that you understand what it is, sewn and cut. And that's probably one of the most important things to learn is sewn and cut. So I've got some little papers here. Let's pull those out. Hopefully I still have them. Okay, so these are some vocabulary words for you. So cut edge, see this is a cut edge, or a raw edge, see it's raw. It means it's unfinished. Now the quilt world will use the word unfinished a lot. It's the bigger size, it's the larger size, but it's also a cut and raw. So I like to use the word cut and raw because I know instantly what it is. Sometimes people don't understand the unfinished and the finished. So I just use the cut and raw because it tells me exactly what it is, and it's the larger size. Then when it's all sewn, see this one right here, see it's all sewn, there's no cut or raw edges on it. So this is a sewn size. So a sewn size is a finished, see how it's finished, unfinished, or graph paper. When you start building a pattern, you have it on graph paper, and that's like the perfect size. And then you have to add a seam allowance when you're working with that graph paper, so you can see how it's a smaller. I'll get there in just a second. So sewn, finished, and graph paper are all the same size, and they're smaller, okay? So if I needed just a plain square like here, if it was 4 inches cut, it would be 3.5 sewn. Now, when you're following your patterns in the book, if you're just following a pattern, it's going to tell you exactly everything that you need. Cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. And it's going to, and then I like to, sometimes you're looking at it and you're like, okay, what is this? What's it doing and everything. If you come over and look at the steps, then you can see what that is going to do and the colors and where it goes in there. So if you're following the patterns, and if you're new to quilting, if you're new to square and a square, don't jump in there and start trying to do the math and doing everything, start with a pattern so that you can see what you're doing and get your feet wet and practice with it. Then you can jump in and start being creative. And all of our Premium Club members, I think I can pretty much put all of them in there. In the last 2 and 3 years, they have gotten so creative. They are letting the quilt speak to them. One of them had a nice video on just this past week about how she started and took her scraps and did this, and then she let the quilt speak to her, and then she did that. And her quilts are just amazing. She'll take a little bit of this and a little bit of that of what she's learned and just mix it all together and come up with her own quilt, and it's just gorgeous. We've got so many Premium Club members that are really going over the top with their knowledge and their creativity. And they're also excited because they're keeping their brains active and working and doing what they love. And that's so important, especially as we get on the other side of that hill to keep our brains going and working. So when you read the charts, the reason why I talked about cut and sewn is because when you read the charts, up at the top, it's going to say cut and sewn. And when people, we're going to talk about a text message that I got and helping someone. And what most people get messed up on when they text me is they're dealing with a sewn size and a cut size. And so that once we get that straightened out, then bam, we've got the answer to their question and their charts. And one reason why I love the Quilt Text Hotline is because I can make a video and send it to you and show you right in the book. One lady this last week was like, oh my gosh, thank you, I had it right there in the book, and either I didn't see it or I didn't know how to read it. But you know, I always say I can give you the answer, I can feed you a fish, but I want to teach you to fish so that when you can jump in there and feel confident to do things on your own. But I'm happy to help you and hold your hand along the way. But we have got so many now that are doing a great job of fishing on their own. So, okay, questions, get them in there. And we have a little bit of a delay on our questions. So, okay, so option 1, we've trimmed leaving the 1/4 of an inch down here on all 4 corners. That's the option 1. And in our quilt today, we have done an option 1, and you can fussy cut your centers if you want, or just cut them from your fabric. They look pretty no matter how you decide to do it. So this was our basic square. You know, here's your basic square, square in the middle, strips on the side. Put the 90 in the corner and trim it up, and that's your option 1. Just beautiful. And did you know that option 1 is all you need for your tumbling blocks? So you would do, and there's in the book here that's called In the Garden with Tumbling Blocks. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Just option 1s. And you just, I think there's 4 different color combos on it. So here's the quilt. And then you can see here, these are all just option 1s. And see where the seam is? That seam is going to go through the center of the option 1s above it. See how they all line up going through the center? So you're going to use some flying geese on the end of every other row. But when these come together, so if this is one row of option 1s and then this is another row of option 1s, when these colors come together, see how that seam goes through the center? This right here is what creates your tumbling block. So no Y seams, no diamonds, no set-in pieces. Just the very simple option 1 from your basic square. It's pretty amazing just with that. Okay, so let's talk about our flying geese. So when we do our flying geese, we're going to leave a 1/4 of an inch on 2 opposite sides, and we trim right up to the tip on the other 2 sides. And so to do the 2-step trim, I'm just going to take this one and trim 2 opposite sides doing the 2-step to get our little basic one like this. So here's my 90. It goes right in the corner. And I'm just going to step over or drag it 2 lines. So see how this line right here is on there? I'm just going to drag it down 1, drag it down 2. So see, I stepped over 2 lines, nice and sharp right in that corner. This line will go right down the seam. I'll look to see if I'm staying square, and I want to keep it parallel. Now you can see here on this one, see how this grid line shoots from the corner through that corner? And then look over here. See, it's lining up here with the line, but look, it's out over here. So when I trimmed this up, I didn't keep it square very good because it should all be nice and neat and parallel. That's what I'm talking about keeping your blocks nice and square and parallel. So I'm going to see this corner. There's my 90, 1, 2. Okay, so I've got it in there down. This is looking good, and this is looking much neater. So it's this one right here that was wrong, and I need to, or off a little bit. So I'm just going to use that as my two-step side. Now go to the opposite. So there was a little troubleshooting for you. Okay, so there it is, 1/4 of an inch and two-step. And now I just come in here and I'm going to line it up, making sure it's, and then see how it just goes through those points. And there are my two perfect flying geese. So if you want a star, then of course there's your star, just like that. Now these sizes are not proportioned correctly, but if you want to put an option 1 in the middle, we can just scoot it up there a little bit so you can get a better view. So there's your option 1 in the middle instead of a plain square. And then of course you'd have a square in the corner. So let's look at our colors that we're working on. So here is our star. These, let's do a little vocab just on this. So this is a block and it has a raw edge, so it's a cut size or unfinished. So let's say that if it was 10-inch sewn, it's going to be 10.5 cut or unfinished. And these are what we call corner squares. They're a square and they're in the corner. So to me, it's pretty self-explanatory. This would be center of star if we use just a solid square in there, center of star, or solid center. And then of course these are your flying geese. Now one of the girls on Facebook was doing some scrappy stuff and she was like, oh man, I didn't get my surround strips dark enough because she lost some of her star points. Anytime you're making a block talking about color, you need to look at what is the main thing or the focus of the block that makes it the block. And of course, if you're doing a star, you've got to have points. And so you've got to have a good contrast with your background and your points, or you're going to lose a point. And then you're going to have, instead of 8-pointed star, a 7-pointed star because you don't have that good contrast. So stars, the points have to pop, or it's not going to look like a star. If I switch these colors up and put black in here and the gray here, it would look totally different. It wouldn't look like a star at all. For example, of course, these colors, you know, are the same, but look what happens when you switch it like that. See, it's not a star at all, and it just has to do with whether those points show up like a star, whether it's color or placement. So here is one sample. So here is one with a plain square in the middle. Here's our option 1 instead of a plain square. And I've lost one of my points. But of course that would go there like that. And there's your star. Now, you when you're reading your patterns, if they're new patterns, we may have the word overcut. Like this book was made a long time ago, so we don't have any overcutting in here. But when you're looking at some of the new stuff, if it says overcut, let's say that this is supposed to be a 2.5 in here cut. In the directions, I may say 2 3/4 overcut. That means that 2 3/4 is 1/4 of an inch larger, so that you'll have room here to come in and square your block up perfect. How many times have you cut the perfect square to go in this perfect corner? You think everything looks great, it's coming along, you think everything is fit together great, you go over to your iron and you start pressing it to your ironing station, and you realize that this is dipping in. You know, if it's hanging out, you can always trim it up, but if it's cut perfect, you're going to have somewhere it dipping in, and it may affect, you know, whether you have enough fabric here to sew that nice point and all of that. So anytime we have a solid square or rectangle, we overcut it so that we have room to come in here and trim it up perfect after the block is all sewn together, after the human has done the cutting, the sewing, and the pressing. And that's what gives you the ability to be able to make quilts or blocks that normally were out of your skill range or your knowledge range, because we do this over cutting, and then you can come back in and square it up to make it perfect. Now, when you look at the block just like this, it's really pretty. It's a star block. Star blocks are always pretty. They're my favorite. They're my go-to blocks. But look what happens when you put it on point. So on point just means that instead of sewing them all horizontal, block after block in a row, you're going to put them on point. See how it's on point? And you sew them together diagonally. And in Quilt Club Week, we have a great video on diagonal, and then we're going to do a lot of diagonal in Quilt Club Week this year, because our watershed quilt is all sewn together in diagonal rows. And we do an option 9, which is a triangle unit on the end, and it creates this wave around the outside edge that's just exquisite. And you look at it and you're thinking, what did they use to put that together? When it's really just very simple. Everything is just basic squares, and you trim it up and you sew around it and you trim it up, and it makes these beautiful units that you put together and make a quilt. Now on this one where we've done the option 1 in the middle, let's look at it again. And when we kept these colors all the same, when this gets put on point, look how it makes this real bold, blocky area right here. And that's what we did on our quilt up here. So let's look. So here's our quilt. We did option 1s in the middle. So there's an option 1 in the middle. We did our flying geese. And then here's the block. So see how it's put on point. And look at this really bold, blocky area here that we have. Really beautiful. I really love this. This quilt is in your reference book here. And there's multiple sizes in it, from I think a 3-inch all the way up to a 12-inch block. So lots of different sizes. You can make it any size that you want. And here it is. So see, here's your triangle unit on the end, and then a solid square, and then another block. Now see how I called this a solid square? It's just a solid square in your quilt. And that's a vocabulary word that we use, your solid square, or a solid setting square, or a solid corner square. So we really tell you where that goes in the quilt. So there's just a solid square with our pretty orchid fabric, and then the star, and so on and so on. And then the rows just go. Now the corner ones will be a little bit smaller than the side ones. These are called, when you look at your pattern information, it'll say corner, square, triangle, because you're gonna, well, not corner square, it's a side setting, corner setting triangle is what these are. And these are side setting triangles, because see how those go on the side of the quilt, and these go in the corner of the quilt. So we really try to use a vocabulary that's consistent, and that it is kind of think of the word, indicative of where it goes. And then we just used a little black frame to frame it up, to kind of stop your eye, and then went back in with the gorgeous orchid and then the black leaf for the border. So we have, in April each year, we do a retreat, and we had a lady that has come multiple years, and she just came with scraps in her suitcase, flew from up north, and for the retreat for that week, and she just came with scraps, and she was using this pattern, and she made it twin size. She didn't have anything cut. She didn't even have her fabric pressed, of course, because it was in the suitcase. And when she finished with retreat, her quilt had borders and everything on it. It was ready to be quilted, and I think she was giving it to her son. So the quilts really do move along. And of course, she was visiting with friends, and, you know, sitting at the tables, eating all the meals and everything. So it wasn't that she was just nose down at the table. She got it done, and still enjoyed herself and had a great time at the retreat. So let's look at the original ruler. So with the mini, you saw me put the 90 in there, and so this is the original. Here's our 90, and we're just pushing it into the corner, just like we did with our mini ruler, lining the lines up and then you'll make your cut, and then with the grande. So the ruler doesn't really have anything to do with the size of your work. It's just all about the trimming. But of course, when your block grows, you want enough ruler to cover the fabric so that when you cut, you have ruler to help guide you cut. So here's the blue lines, the 90 right there. If you want to do the two-step, just put the two-step down like that. Now, a lot of people really like to use the grande to do the two-step because there's just one line to look at, and it just, bam, right down to that corner, just like that. Okay, so we're going to look at a pattern, and we're going to look at how to read it. Do we have, if you have any questions from anyone?
And one question was about when is Quilt Club Week, and we have answers on here.
Okay, so Quilt Club Week is the last full week of September. So I know that week has a 23 in it, so it's that week. So as we get, we'll be teaching every week as we work towards Quilt Club Week. And then when we get down to the week before, we start teaching every day, showing you something every day. And then on Wednesday, when Quilt Club Week starts, the people who have their subscription for Quilt Club Week or Premium Club, then they have access to go in and watch what we're doing. And so I think next week I'll show the watershed, but we have Kay and Kathy who do machine quilting, machine applique. They show little craft sewing projects. We also have a ton of good bloopers from them. They're just really fun and funny. They're all about having fun, doing your thing and having fun. And then Kathy does, well, Kay, she is from Nashville, and so she did a lot of sewing over the years for the Nashville Stars, so she's very talented in lots of different sewing areas. And then Kathy is a machine quilter. She quilts just on a regular tabletop machine, and so we have hours and hours and hours of machine quilting just on your regular sewing machine in there of how to chalk, how to draw, how to be creative. I mean, so Quilt Club Week started in 2020 when COVID hit. Nobody could go to quilt shows. So we have 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, and now we're getting ready for our 6th year of 2025. So all of that previous stuff is in Quilt Club Week. Go in, watch it, enjoy it, start learning, and just keep building. Like with the machine quilting, the first year was all the beginner stuff, and then the next year she showed you more, and then the next year more and more and more. How to use stencils and how to mark your quilts, just everything. It's really, like I said, hours upon hours upon hours. In fact, one lady was texting me over the last 2 weeks, and she's like, I went in and joined Quilt Club Week, and I started watching, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I'm learning so much, da-da-da. We got to talking, and she had some questions about Premium Club and so on. Well, she took her membership that she had and jumped over and added that to her Premium Club. And if you have any questions about that, just email, and Steve will help you with all of that. And so she's joined Premium Club. So she has, I think Premium Club has 20 semesters in it. So each spring, each fall, we have a semester. For example, with Premium Club, 2 years ago, we did one on pattern adapting and used Farmer's Wife blocks to show how to learn how to look at a block and adapt it over to the square and a square options and units and all of that. And so many people said, oh my gosh, not only did the light bulb come on, but every light in the whole house is on. So it's really a great one. But that one had, I don't know if I have you have patterns each week. Classes are on Mondays at 11, and each week you have a new pattern that you can just look at on the screen or you can download. We haven't done it before, but the one that we did this past spring, we turned into a book because it was new options. But I think there was over 90 pages of patterns for the Farmer's Wife for that semester, and I think over 40 hours of teaching. So just in that one semester, there's just tons and tons of stuff that that you learn and do. Classes are anywhere from an hour to 2.5 hours, depending on how much time we need to teach what we're doing. Most of them are live, so you can interact and ask questions right there. But of course, they're online, so if you can't watch it, then you go back and watch it when it's convenient for you, and you can watch it over and over again. So hundreds of hours in Premium Club, Quilt Club Week, and then of course the free webinars or classes that are in the public section. So there's no reason not to learn how to do it. There's no reason not to go in and watch even the free stuff. Instead of searching on Facebook and YouTube for it, just go to squareandasquare.net and get in there and start watching and start learning. Now, the watershed quilt that everyone is so excited about in Premium Club, we normally for Quilt Club Week, we tell you about what we're going to do, but we don't really show you the quilts or have the kits and the patterns early, because sometimes people get excited and they start working on it before the class. And I don't really want people to do that. I want people to watch the class, get all the tips and hints, then start sewing on their project. But we had Watershed at Quilt Club Week, at Retreat this spring. So Retreat, you get a little preview of Quilt Club Week and can maybe get started on stuff sooner for the ones that come to Retreat. But anyway, the fabric was very limited. I needed to know how many kits I could get out of the fabric that I had, and I made a second quilt with the Patriotic, and so anyway, we started showing it and have started selling it and promoting it. About a week ago, we shipped out more than half of our kits that we had. So, and like I say, they're very limited, so get in there. Now, soon in one of these webinars I will show you the Patriotic one. I just need a little bit more on it so you can get a good overall of how the fabrics are going to look. It's stunning. It's beautiful. I love the Patriotic one. And then, of course, the one in the vintage fabrics are very good. So you can go to the website and in the search bar, just put kits and go in there and see what we have. I know I've said it multiple times on this video, but I really want you to get those kits. They're all
sale, but you can put any word in there.
Yes, or you can search sale. But sale means it's a discounted price and not
Right.
everything
Yeah,
is
so just put
kit or shadow fabric
options,
or
whatever.
yeah, a certain book or something in there. And of course, the email if you have any questions or need any help. So we are, as of today, we are got our feet in the starting blocks and the gun has gone off, and we are in a long marathon to the end of September to Quilt Club Week. So please go and join the email list so that you'll get notified of everything that we're doing and know about our promotions. Fabric will be coming in August. You'll be able to see what the new stuff will be, and you'll be able to purchase the pieces that go with it. But the new stuff won't be here till November, and we'll have a special promotion for it in November. I just wanted to break it up for your pocketbook and for our time and space. It works good so that you can order the stuff that goes with it now, save your money so that you'll have it for when the new fabric comes in. You'll have all the pieces that work together. And these pieces that work with it are fabrics that we've had from other collections that I do, and we are at the end of that fabric run, so it's very limited. So I want you to be able to get the pieces that go with it. There's one in particular that I just can't wait for. I'm over the moon with it. It's a fabric that we've had that I just never quite had the quilt with it that I wanted, but now that we're going to get that new piece of fabric to go with it, it's going to be amazing. Mwah. All right, do we have a question from someone? We're just about done here. Webinars are for piecing only, and the quilting techniques are where? Only on Quilt Club. Okay, so the webinars are similar to like what I've done today. Kind of a newsletter and a teaching in there are the webinars. And then Quilt Club Week is a little bit of everything. It's machine quilting, it's piecing, it's craft sewing, it's giggles. It's, Quilt Club Week was designed off of what you would do if you went to a quilt show. So if you went to a quilt show, you look around and you see new fabrics, you see new techniques, you see some little crafty thing that you want to do, that kind of thing. Lectures, seminars, classes. So that's kind of, but it's all online. So that's how Quilt Club Week is structured. And then Premium Club is semesters. So it's spring semester, fall semester. Fall semester has 9 weeks or more in it, depending on how many weeks we need to make our quilt. And our spring semester has anywhere from 12 to 15 classes in it. We have more time, and we start sometime the first half of January and end sometime the end of April. If we need to go into May to finish our project, if it's a big one, then we do. Hopefully that helped.
And all three are found there.
Yes, squareandasquare.net is our teaching website. So the public webinar and classes, there's tons you can learn in there. And then Quilt Club Week and Premium. And then if you've been watching on YouTube or Facebook, we've been doing all these little reels. Well, these little short 30-second reels have all come off of 3 teachings that we did over the options. It's called the Option Overview Book. And so you can even, let's look down here on the table, Steve. Switch our cameras, please. So you can even download this little page and slip it in the front of your notebook, and then come in and start making your options. If you've watched the last couple of days, there's the option family chart. I've been talking about the characteristics of the options, but basically what you're going to do is you're just going to go in and sew up about 20 of these basic squares, put one in your book, trim one for an option 1, put it in your book, and then you're going to do option 2 and option 3 flying geese. And when you create your book and you're just using scrap fabric and you're not worrying about sizing or where it's going to go, you're just learning the options, then this really helps get that into the muscle memory of your brain so that you can look at the patterns and stuff and know a little bit more about it. So go in and make your option overview book. Now, I did say that we were going to talk about reading a pattern. So let's come in here and just pick one of our patterns. Okay, so this one here was called Rick Rack. So it's going to tell you the size of your block, how many blocks that your cutting information is for, and what you're going to use. We did a 4-patch and we did the option 8 bat wings, and then gives you any information that you need to know there. Then when you get in with the cutting, I don't know how close you can get, but this is to me of course, one of the most important things. So let's get in here and look, and I'll move around where I need to. Okay, so your light or your background, and then if it's our fabric, then we tell you it's We the People tan, and that you're going to need a yard of that. And this number right here, 8, that's in parentheses, this means you're going to cut 8 2.5-inch surround strips. So this is from selvage to selvage, so it's approximately 40 inches when you cut a strip like that. So you're going to cut 8 strips. They're 2.5 inches and they're surround strips. So we talked about how this is the surround strip right here. This is the surround strip here, 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 here. You're surrounding that center. And it says step 1. Now the old books don't have what step they're in, but the new books do have the step. So when you turn the page, or I guess down here at the bottom where it's step 1, that is your surround strip. So here you can see where they go in the picture. Let me look down here. So here you can see where they go in the picture. Those are your surround strips. Okay? And then it says 2 2.5-inch strips. So it doesn't tell you yet what those strips are for the strata in step 2. Well, a strata is when you put multiple strips together. So when you look here at your picture, it's your red and your background. So you're going to put your strips together and then cut them into your stratas for your step 2. So when you're looking here and it says step 2 and you're not sure, go to step 2 and look. And it should be clear as to what you're making. And so then it says 1 4.5-inch strip for the strata of step 2, 2 2.5-inch strips for the strata in the 4-patch, and so on. So I think it's, especially if you're new, I think you should go through and read the whole pattern, go all the way through and read, because it really does help make it become more understandable when you've gone all the way through. Now in the butterfly, we have to sew around 2 times. So see, here's our center square, and this is your surround strip row 1, and you trim it up, and then see how you sew around it again. So that would be row 2. So let's look at let me see if I can find row 2. So here we have, here it says row 2, 3-inch surround strips, row 2. So that's your second time you're going to sew around. It's for your option 10. So the option that you're making, this is your option 10. And then it's step 2. And so there's your step 2. And then here it says, in this one, it says 4-inch overcut strips. And then it says actual cut size is 3.5. So it tells you that you're cutting it bigger. That way you have room to trim it up. Perfect for your corner. Normally we only overcut 1/4 of an inch, but on this one we overcut more. So there was a reason why we did that. But you know, if you don't have a 4-inch strip and you're using scraps, you can do a 3.5 cut size for your corner square of step 3. So here is your corner square of step 3. So here they are. So, you know, how do we learn stuff? By looking at it 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day. And then take some scrap fabric and start sewing some stuff up. I remember 40 years ago, a brand new technique had come out, and it was very complicated because it was diamonds and there were mirror images. So you had to cut stuff one way and had to cut stuff the other. I had looked at the book, I had probably made 100 quilts by the time I had gotten to this step in my quilting path. But I just wasn't getting it. I spent 3 days reading the book while I was sitting at the school, waiting to pick up my boys. Maybe I was at a baseball game or in the concession stand. I had that book with me. I was looking at it, I was reading it, I was thinking about it, I was drawing stuff out. And I just about wore the book out for days, just looking at it, trying to figure out this technique that was being done. And Steve and the boys were going away for something somewhere for an overnight, and I knew I had all day that I could just dedicate to what I was doing, and I got some scrap fabric out and I started doing it. And then it started clicking, and I started understanding what they were saying, and it was making sense. But I had to apply myself. So you have to apply yourself. We've given you everything that you need. We've given you the tools, we've given you the technique, we've given you the videos, we've given you the text line. We have given you everything that you need. So now you have to put your foot in the water, take that wrapper off of that ruler, and start doing it. And send me, you know, I'll help you. I'll walk right there with you. I'll hold your hand. I'll tell you, yes, keep going. I may tell you, try again. I told a lady one time, she was really working hard on it. I said, try again. You're getting closer. You're about there. And bam, she did. She got it. And now she is just taken off like a jackrabbit. She's just sewing and making beautiful quilts and having fun. So get in there. I remember one time when we were at the Houston Quilt Show, you know, I've been doing this almost 40 years now, and a lady came by and she's like, I just haven't, I always watch you, but I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. And I said, well, what have you made? Or what have you done? And she said, oh, I haven't even taken it out of the wrapper. And I'm like, you got to take it out of the wrapper. How, you think it's just going to jump out and you're going to learn how to do it? No, you've got to, don't be afraid. It's not going to bite you. Take it out of the wrapper, start using it, send me a picture, ask questions. We're here to help. And we're going to see you on the other side. I mean, just this week, the purple ribbons, the judges' choices, the aha moments. I mean, since we've been on a little bit of summer break in between our semesters and getting everything ready for Quilt Club Week, people have been in there finishing projects and trying things. And the aha moments that have come across the text line and on the Facebook page are really, truly amazing. And I love it how the accomplishments that our Premium Club members get, because they're really applying themselves to this. Now you're seeing them on the regular Square in a Square Facebook page of the accomplishments of the students, not just what the teacher is doing, not just what the inventor is showing you, but the actual people at home in their own sewing rooms, their knowledge, their skill levels, their journey down that patchwork path is just truly amazing. And I'm so proud of all of them and all the ribbons that they're bringing home from quilt shows and county fairs and state fairs and all of that. So machine quilting, applique, piecing, it's all there for you. It's just a click away nowadays with the internet and technology. So we're really excited about that, and how even though you're not with me in a class, you're actually getting more because you're being able to watch the video over and over again, and you still have access to me through the quilt text to show me your work, and then I can show you what you need to get on down that road farther. So any last minute questions from anyone? Okay, so go to the website squareandasquare.com, sign up with your email, look around at what's there. That's our storefront. Go to squareandasquare.net. That's our teaching website. We're all about teaching. That's what we love to do. We love to help you. We love to teach. We love to see the beautiful quilts you make. So Monday, we're going to have 2 quilts, Pathway to the Stars and Trinity River. We do have a couple of kits of those. We have a couple of kits of Midnight Orchid. And of course that great watershed quilt. I probably won't have time on Monday to show you watershed because we have 2 quilts that we're doing. But for sure on that Monday the 18th I'll show you. We'll have those ready to go, even if I don't have the semester quilt ready for you on the 18th to see. So Monday the 4th, 2 o'clock, Monday the 11th, 2 o'clock, Monday the 18th, 2 o'clock will be, hopefully I'll have stuff to show you for Premium Club. And then Tuesday the 19th, we have Double Star and Pumpkin Star, okay? But the main thing is get on that email list so that you'll get notifications. And if anything changes, then you'll know about that through your email, okay? All right, I hope you've had a good time today. And we're ready to see you become that piecer that you've always dreamed about.